All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are unpacking a truly fascinating astrological placement, Jupiter in the ninth house. Look, whether you're already deeply well-versed in astrology or you're just kind of curious about the archetypes of human growth, this is an absolutely beautiful roadmap of how we learn, how we grow, and how we find meaning. It's a deeply philosophical journey of personal evolution, and we've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's jump in.
Okay, let's dive into this. Right off the bat, I want to hit you with a bit of a heavy question, something to really chew on. Are you simply collecting knowledge, or are you actually allowing that knowledge to transform your life? It really challenges us to take a hard look in the mirror, doesn't it? Like, are we just filling our heads with interesting facts and trivia, or are we letting that information fundamentally change the way we live and breathe every single day? I want you to keep that question right in the back of your mind as we go through this today.
So why does that question even matter? Well, to understand that, we have to look closely at the placement itself. Jupiter in the ninth house is widely considered to be one of astrology's absolute strongest placements for wisdom, philosophy, and spirituality. You probably already know the ninth house is the domain of higher education, of belief systems, of long journeys. So think about it. When you drop Jupiter, the planet of ultimate expansion, right into that house, you get this beautiful, burning desire to understand life's deepest mysteries. You get someone who is just endlessly hopeful and profoundly, almost obsessively curious about the universe.
And that perfectly sets up our first major theme, Section 1, the lifelong student, an insatiable curiosity.
People with this placement, they are literally drawn like magnets to anything that broadens their understanding of the world. For them, it's like a giant puzzle where every single answer just inspires another question, and every discovery just opens up a whole new path to explore. Let's be real for a second. If you have this placement, your online shopping cart is probably permanently filled with books you want to read, and your nightstand is definitely buried under a massive stack of unread paperbacks. But that's the beauty of it. Their minds are constantly searching. For them, gaining knowledge isn't a chore. It's a thrilling, lifelong adventure.
But hey, every great adventure has a plot twist, right? Let's take a look at the hidden challenge here in Section 2, the knowledge trap. Hoarding information. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we're talking about. Look at the stark contrast here. On one hand, you have understanding courage in theory, but on the other, actually choosing courage when you are terrified. It's the difference between reading a fantastic book about compassion and actively showing compassion to someone who just deeply disappointed you. The trap, and it's a subtle one, is that it's incredibly easy to collect all these beautiful philosophies while your everyday habits remain exactly the same. Knowing what is right does not automatically mean you're living rightly.
Which means, eventually, we have to step out into Section 3, the world's classroom, moving beyond the bookshelf. Don't get me wrong, academic learning has tremendous value. But for Jupiter in the ninth house, travel is often the ultimate teacher. The focus naturally has to shift from the academic to the experiential, because getting out there and visiting unfamiliar places, that expands your perspective in ways that staying home in your comfort zone simply cannot. Different cultures reveal entirely different values, and new traditions challenge our most comfortable, deeply held beliefs. And every journey quietly changes the traveler. It encourages this deep, genuine humility by reminding us that, hey, no single viewpoint contains every single answer to life's mysteries. It's almost like a Socratic evolution, right? Let's walk through this. We start step 1 by gathering initial knowledge. Then, step 2, we travel, stepping outside to test those ideas out in the real world. But notice the friction that inevitably comes next in step 3, hardship, which then leads to step 4, humility, that realization of just how much we actually don't know. And it's only by moving through those previous steps that we finally arrive at step 5, true wisdom. It's this beautiful shift from external exploration to profound internal transformation. I actually want to pause and zoom in on that middle step for a moment. Section 4, wisdom through hardship, life's greatest lessons. So the crucial point here is that Jupiter doesn't just grow through our happy, carefree travels. It really grows through the difficult seasons that completely reshape our character. It's not the textbook that teaches us, it is the lived experience. Think about it. Failure is what actually develops our humility. Loss is what deepens our compassion. The sheer agony of waiting strengthens our patience. And facing crushing uncertainty is exactly what builds our resilience. The greatest teachers in our lives very, very often arrive disguised as our hardest, most painful moments. Now, getting through those hard moments, that relies heavily on our belief systems. Jupiter naturally encourages this incredibly hopeful, optimistic outlook to help us recover from setbacks. However, and this is a big however, beliefs always require reflection. Some beliefs create incredible freedom in our lives, for sure. But others, they quietly create completely unnecessary limitations. Remaining open to learning and adapting is absolutely crucial. It's what prevents certainty from turning into arrogance. True wisdom can only continue to grow when our curiosity remains much stronger than our pride.
And that brings us to the climax of this whole journey. Section 5, Knowledge into Action, embodying the lesson.
So, what happens when all of this, the learning, the traveling, the hardships, finally crystallizes? Well, teaching naturally follows. People with this placement frequently step into roles as educators, writers, mentors, coaches, or spiritual guides. Or, maybe they're just that one incredibly thoughtful friend who always gives the absolute best advice. But here is the key takeaway. Their advice is only meaningful because it is backed up by personal experience. They actually live their principles. A quiet, lived example is always going to inspire people far more deeply than beautiful words alone ever could. But here's the beautiful part. Even as they become teachers, they never stop being students. Humility protects wisdom from becoming intellectual pride. The more these seekers learn, the more they actively recognize just how much remains totally unknown. Every new lesson just reveals another mystery waiting right behind it, and it's an endless process. But that's exactly what keeps their minds alive and their hearts completely open, without them ever feeling the need to claim absolute certainty about anything. Now, what's really interesting here is how perfectly this captures the ultimate truth of this placement. Real wisdom only becomes visible through daily actions. It's not about what you say you know, it's about showing patience during hardship, it's having courage during uncertainty, choosing kindness during conflict. It is all about maintaining your integrity when absolutely no one is watching you. When knowledge finally becomes action, well, wisdom stops being just an abstract concept, and it becomes something you quietly live out every single day. Which brings us right back full circle to where we started this explainer today. Are you collecting knowledge or are you practicing it? Because information can fill the mind, sure, but only action transforms the soul. Books, travel, philosophy, they are all incredible tools, but none of them create lasting wisdom until they actually become a part of how you live. So I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder today. Take a look at your own life. What is one way you can take something you deeply know to be true and actually practice it today?